Welcome everybody to episode 17 of the Sports Ramble Podcast. As always, I'm Matthew White, a boy with Trey Williams over there. And today we'll be discussing some divisional rounds, some football, basketball if we get to it, just kind of in general. Um, we're expecting Mahomo to get to the Super Bowl if Josh Allen doesn't. And
Josh
and
Allen,
my
I can
my
only
biggest
hope.
I know, but my biggest issue with the game against the Texans was even Joe Buck, who usually is pretty fair in his calling. He's usually very neutral. When he is calling out the
Holmes,
Mahomes and the team and the refs for like showing favoritism to him,
that's bad.
yeah, you couldn't.
That's
That's not
bad.
good. And to me, it was glaringly obvious that the refs were showing favoritism.
Yeah.
That roughing the passer call was terrible, in my opinion.
Yeah, because like you can't really like quarterbacks nowadays. They can't really like you can't touch the quarterback, and it's like for the defensive linemen and all the defense, like they can't really tackle the quarterback no more unless it's like roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness.
Yeah,
It's kind of defeating the purpose of playing defense in the first place.
and
You can't really like tackle the dude.
yeah, exactly. And what's that quarterback? Kurt Benkert, who's got a YouTube channel. He's doing really good. Former NFL quarterback, well, third string guy, but still an NFL quarterback nonetheless. He called out that the slide rule needs to be eliminated because Mahomes is using that to his advantage. So the second he's about to get clocked,
He
that's when he
slides.
decides to slide, and so he gets the penalty every time. So it's penalty baiting essentially.
Yeah. It's one of
So
those things where Um, and the NFL might catch on to it, and they
no.
might like, even though they're not going to because Kansas City is like it's a top team,
Mm-hmm.
and oh my gosh, like Taylor is the most marketable team. Not real like it's top of the market like marketable team in the NFL,
Yeah.
but it's like one of those things where it's like, oh, you got the best player in the NFL on the team. You just gotta make sure like he's good. It was like he's got like at least I don't know.
Yeah.
NFL gotta get their stuff together when it
Yeah.
comes to like rule like the new NFL rules is it's starting to become like soft nowadays. It was like
Yeah. I don't know, man. For me, it's just it is what it is, and with that, but with some big news over course the NFL landscape, Pete Carroll comes out of retirement to coach the
Raiders.
Raiders. So I like the idea. Don't know what see. You can hire a head coach all you want, but it matters on your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. And the Texans fire their OS coordinator Slowick after 2 seasons, so he's been shown the door. Bobby Slowick. So they also fired their offensive line coach, Chris Strausser, and assistant offensive line coach Cole Popovich. So they're gonna look to get more credit. And then the big rumor mill for all you Cowboys fans out there is that Marty Schottenheimer's kid is
Ugh.
currently being interviewed, or was interviewed, for the uh Cowboys head coaching position, and it should be an interesting one to see if they do. I know everyone wants Coach Prime, but obviously it does not seem like that will happen.
Coach Dion, Coach Prime, please. If you become the Cowboys' next head coach, you'll change the culture here because the culture's in the trash can right now. And then was it gonna suck about the whole Cowboy situation? It's all gonna end up in Jerry. It all depends on Jerry
Yeah,
because Jerry dictates like everything now, and
yeah,
that's his main problem. Ever since the whole like Jimmy Johnson thing, um, it's like one of those things where the coach got to take care of the team. You, the owner, take care of the financials. And he
yeah,
doesn't know how to separate that because he wants to be the coach and the owner, which that
and
can't you
and
can't
yeah,
do that.
and Jerry is not a guy that lets people take credit for their work because he wants to be the center of attention. And I watched the this going back to Joe Buck actually. He had a sit down with the Cowboys, Aikman, Smith, and I believe he also sat down with Johnson, Yeah, I don't think he sat down with Jerry Jones. I don't have to look if he did. I think he might have. But the way Jimmy explained, he said Jerry can't let see someone else take credit for something that he was doing part of. Like people were like Jerry said, I can make 5 million and no one cares, but like they see us win the Super Bowl and then everyone attributes Jimmy Johnson to that. So it's like, dude, if you had just stayed out of the way, the Cowboys could have easily had 4 or 5 more Super Bowls, and I truly believe that.
Yep, that's
And
nuts.
yeah, so when you have an owner that doesn't sit idly by and is the shadow emperor of the league, because everyone knows that Roger Goodell does not run the league. We know this. It's Jerry Jones runs the league.
Pretty much because like he's like the president of the like Players Association or something like that. Because like he's the president of the
I
owners association or
think
something.
so. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway.
Besides
But
the point,
yeah,
he kind of like runs like the whole like
yeah, runs most of the league, and so Sam Darnold also wins Comeback Player of the Year. No one cares. He's gone. You are now an officially a Raider. Sam, good luck. He's not, but I hope he is.
actually
Um,
might not be a bad pickup for them.
Either the Bears as a backup or the Raiders. That's my guess for him.
Speaking of the Bears, Ben Johnson,
Do I
solid
like him?
pickup. I do like him.
Yes. Do I
Yes,
think he'll
that was,
survive? Do I think he'll thrive? He needs to work on his own line, and he needs to get receivers that can catch a ball.
they do. They got more and Keenan Allen if he decides to stay.
No, Keenan. I think Keenan Allen's gone because Keenan Allen's gonna probably get more money from a different team. DJ Moore is the only guy you have. You need to have back. That's why. And a lot of their games was, and they need to work on their defense. Their defense was atrocious, in my opinion. It
That's the
was
sad part.
because I thought their defense was gonna look good this year, and I was like, oh man, they look like they had some good weapons. No, no, they don't. Do I think? And I saw a thing that someone said Minka might want out.
Minka.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
Fitzpatrick. I'm like, what? I could see. I mean, Drew would be depressed because he's a Steeler. Um,
yeah.
and then the same thing with how much longer do you think Pat Surtain has in Denver?
That
I don't.
probably like a couple more years. I mean, like just made it to the playoffs for like since
Yeah,
like
but that was off pure luck.
yeah. I mean, like they got a bright future ahead of them.
They do. And
Is
then
my
Jane
thing
Daniel
is
is was if Jane Daniels makes the Super Bowl, is he would he be the first rookie quarterback to make the Super Bowl? I feel like he would be.
I think so because like Big Ben Roethlisberger, he went his second year unless it was his first year. I'm not. I mean, I believe so.
Yeah, so according to current information, Jane Daniels is considered the first rookie to ever reach a Super Bowl playing for the Washington Commanders in the 2024 season.
If
So
he
he
he will
would
be.
be yeah, he would be technically the first year quarterback. Yeah,
That,
so
that's gonna look so bad, man. Oh my God, that's gonna be look terrible.
yeah, well, I think and you know what's worse for a Cowboys fan is not only do they have your old defensive coordinator as their head coach, they have a quarterback that actually can play football.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
And
Okay, look,
and
don't. Hey, man.
no, we're going. No, we're going. Listen, not only that, they also have a good defensive core. Yes, the Cowboys defense was ravaged by injuries, but that's not an excuse. That's just a cop out. A lot of the elements of why you should have kept him around is now showing as to why Jerry does not need to be the owner. Because again, when you have an owner that cares and the owner that it's actually good, and I'm not saying that the new owner of the Commanders is a saint by any means. What I'm saying is you have a team that is ready to hopefully beat and they have a good chance of beating the Eagles because right now
Now that I'm like scared of because if they beat Philly, they might win the whole thing.
yeah.
They might even beat Kansas City. That's the crazy part. That's a
Dan Quinn's doing a great job, and again, that's because he has an owner that cares, an owner that lets him lets him do him. And so the fact that you guys didn't hire Dan Quinn as a head coach is insane.
hey, stupids will do stupid.
Yeah.
That's my saying. Stupid organizations
You should have
will
kept
do.
him as your D you should have kept him as your D coordinator, I think. But
Yeah.
I think he wanted a head coaching position,
I
so
mean, okay, going back to the Schottenheimer, I
yeah.
wouldn't mind him being the head coach. We just need because he wasn't calling the play. He was there as the offensive coordinator, but Mike McCarthy was doing the play calls. That's
Mm-hmm.
my thing. He should have let Schottenheimer run call the plays.
Yeah.
Cause like I have a feeling like everyone's gonna underestimate Schottenheimer. Cause like I know like his dad was the head coach. He didn't win anything, but he was a really solid like head coach back in the day. But
Mm.
like just Schottenheimer, um, solid coordinator, but we don't know as a head coach.
Mm.
And that's what everyone's saying. Like, well, like we should go get like Robert Saleh
Yeah.
or Dion or Keelan Moore. Even though
Mm.
that'd be catastrophic because that'd be another Jason Garrett. And I already dealt with Jason Garrett for like almost like an 8, 9, 10 seasons. And he got us nowhere. He got us to
Yeah.
the playoffs, but like same story, different year.
My thing is when he was when Schottenheimer was with the Seahawks, he had what was it, the league's top rushing offense for back in 2018, and quarterback Russell Wilson had a career high 110 passing rating. Like he was good. Um, and so then he was hired by the Jaguars and didn't really have a prayer of unfortunately keeping on there. But I think, in my opinion, if you hire Schottenheimer, you should hire him as a quarterbacks coach or keep him on as the offensive coordinator because he had to he got to work under his father. He got to help watch Philip Rivers and help. He was a quarterbacks coach when Philip Rivers was a quarterback, and he had to help develop Russell Wilson. He's got some names kind of like his dad, but it's one of those things where it's like when you look at when he started out with these teams, like Russ was already a pretty established quarterback, but he helped him get going. And do I think he can help Dak Prescott? Probably not. Dak has a lot of issues with his game that I feel like may never be fixed. In terms of his
Okay.
off his back foot, he has this thing where when he
He
gets
can't throw like
when he gets
accurately.
nervous, yeah, no, when he gets nervous or he gets pressured, he reverts back to that back foot where he kind of hops on it, and then his passes are kind of
Short.
yeah, that or like and they said it. I think I saw God, what's his name? I can't think of his name now. I think it was not Urban Meyer. Nick Saban talked about when a quarterback is bouncing like on his foot, his eye level. If your eye level's here looking for quarterback, now when you're bouncing, your that eye level changes. So where you think he might be a that he said that difference changes the inches game. That you could have 2 or 3 inches throwing it to CD, but now you're 2 inches or three inches off because you were bouncing on that back foot. And again, that happens because the blitz is coming. So they have to find a way to kind of beef up that offensive line to where Dak has more time to just kind of settle and just stay there. Because when Dak runs, that always scares me because I'm like, dude, you could he could easily get nailed, and that's
Yep.
just what.
Here's my thing. Like the reason why it scares me every time, because the one time we decided to tell him to run, he tore his hamstring.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know like what to expect now. Because he might be a like Peyton Manning, just be in the pocket quarterback, which what made him famous, he ran.
Yeah.
And look at all the quarterbacks nowadays. Like, look, like if you want to like do good, you gotta like get out of the pocket and create a play. Be a playmaker. Be a playmaker, man. That's what you're top paying quarterback in the league. Be a
Yep.
playmaker. Show us why we paid you that much money.
Yeah.
Be
And
the Dak Prescott that we know that you are capable of becoming. And
and yeah, I don't think I mean, guess he's gonna have this big contract, and then Stephen A. Smith said if the Cowboys were to hire Schottenheimer, and of course Stephen A. Smith being one of the biggest Cowboy haters there is, he's like, if they hire Schottenheimer, it's gonna be like Christmas for me. And I was like, oh god. So now he expects
oh
him.
boy,
But hey, Ohio State wins the national championship. And that
Orange.
whole that whole
Ion.
game, it just felt like Notre Dame was just not in it. They
No,
kind
that
of
was
put on a
no.
little. They
You know
put on
why
a
I
little
call
bit
that
of a
game?
comeback.
You know why I call that game?
What do you call
Before
that game?
um Notre Dame was doing making that fake comeback at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say Ohio State gave that belt to ass whooping
Mm-hmm.
to Notre Dame. It was like, get over here. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Ohio State was like, this is our championship. Like this is our yard.
And the
You can't.
and my thing about the coaching staff here at Notre Dame, it just felt like they kept trying the same thing, expecting different result. You had botch snaps, you had bad turnovers, you had offensive line, a left. If I'm reading this correctly, a left guard that really couldn't, because your starting left guard's injured. Your backup left guard wasn't fast enough to get off the block, and so he was able to. The pressure was able to get around him. So it just felt like a comedy of errors from Notre Dame. Do I expect them to be back in the football playoff? Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
expect them to be back. Do I expect them to go further than where they got last year? No. I expect them to be out maybe in the they make the
Semis.
Cotton Bowl or whatever. They might be out in that, or sorry, Rose Bowl. They might be out in that again, but we'll never know. That's the beauty of football. You don't know, and hey, but congratulations to Ohio State. You guys win your next national title after everyone expected you not to. Now Quinn Ewers is out. Archie Manning is in for the University of Texas. They're going to try to build around him. They did lose a lot, and I mean a lot of players that are going to the NFL draft. So
Yep.
now the big thing is, can you revitalize that defense, who was one of the number one defenses in the nation? Can you revitalize that team after losing guys like Taft, Muhammad? You lost a bunch of guys weapons on the defensive side. So if you can beef them back up, hey, more power to you. But yeah, I
It's gonna
doubt
be
it.
really interesting what Texas does because I really like Archie Manny's game because like he's
Hmm.
a scrambler. He ain't ordinary Manning, like because Eli and Peyton they don't
Eli,
run.
I think Eli ran a little bit more than Peyton, but Peyton
Okay,
never ran.
young Eli, yeah, he ran. Then like
Yeah,
at later his latter half of his career,
he
he
didn't
started
know.
becoming like the inside the pocket. Like he started staying in the pocket type of quarterback.
Yeah, now with defenses like Georgia against teams like Ohio State, you have to
Oh
now
yeah, he got to
plan
run.
around that. You have to realize like, okay, well, with Quinn, he doesn't really run unless you really like he would step up and not really run, and now he has to. I think now with Arch, you have to be like, okay, he can run if we blitz him. We have to be aware of that because he can take off at any time, and so now I think the playbook, at least for that team, has opened up a little bit more. But with that being said, moving on to NBA and the Mavs, they have been looking very well good thus far.
Eh,
Starting to, well, I mean, there's still some issues, but they're starting to at least string together some wins that at least need to be games that need to be won. Whereas the Timberwolves are really struggling, 23-21. I doubt they'll probably just make play-in tournament
yeah.
at
I
this
I
rate.
could it just takes a minute because like with new players coming into a new team because like y'all just lost Dante DiVincenzo for a couple weeks with turf toe.
Hmm.
Luckily he didn't need to have surgery and Julius Randle. I'm sorry that he's been kind of disappointing this season. I thought they were gonna be really good like mesh well
Hmm.
because was here's my thing you have a slasher. Actually, no, two slashers with Randall and Edwards. Then Rudy's down there because he's not like a ball handler or anything. He ain't gonna take no one off the dribble. So that spacing is gonna suck, like off the rip, which
Hmm.
like I already expected it to happen. And with the Mavericks issue, everyone got hurt. Everyone got hurt, and we beat OKC last night, which was a big game.
Yeah.
And like we didn't stop them. We contained SGA,
Yeah.
which like that's the main goal. And like we try to make it difficult for him because like whenever he gets going, like he's automatic.
Watch out. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
Watch out.
like this is okay. I know Luca. He had a chance last year. He got robbed last year. I'm gonna say it again. He got robbed last year. This year, cause his injuries and amount of games he missed, he's not gonna be able to qualify for MVP.
Yeah.
If I had to pick an MVP for this season, it's gotta be SGA. He actually deserves it this year because like
Yeah.
amount of like scoring like performances that he's been having, and like the record's been like showing it too.
Yeah.
This is my thing is like if SGA wins it, like that like he deserves it. Like
Yeah, no, I agree. I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, "Do you ever think that Anthony Edwards is going to win an MVP?" 100% he should. In his career, he should at least win one. Now whether or not that's what the Timberwolves is to be decided. But he, if they didn't have a or not a losing record, but like 2 games above 500 type of record, and they were having like a good season where they were like 21-8 or something like that, I truly believe that he would be in the MVP conversation.
oh yeah, for sure, yeah.
But again, do I? And then I was like, okay, the trade deadline. Do they get rid of Julius Randle? I would.
Yeah, I
I know
mean,
you
okay, it
shouldn't.
just
I know you
depends on the
shouldn't.
right player fit. Because
Hmm.
I'd rather y'all not trade anyone yet.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like because like oh y'all record is terrible.
No.
No,
Yeah.
let
Let's let it happen. Let's see what
let it
happens after
happen.
All
Let it
Star
see.
break, and then
Because it took look what happened like whenever y'all got Rudy. Y'all were the eighth seed, and then the next year y'all were just the third seed.
yeah.
So let it mesh.
Do I think we get rid of Randall though? I think if we have to, we can because we can accrue either a player or some picks that would help. At least get a first round pick back because I know we have a pick swap with the Jazz, which sucks. But
Here's my thing, because I've been hearing some things online. Everyone's
mhm.
saying, "Oh, we should trade Gafford." No, we shouldn't trade. Mavericks shouldn't trade
I'll
Daniel
give you
Gafford.
Randall.
No,
I'll give you Randall in a third round pick for. I mean, sorry, a second round pick for Gafford.
and I'm gonna pick up the phone and be like, "Huh? I'm not. We're not doing that. We're not
What
getting
about
rid.
Gafford? What about Gafford for Randall in a first?
I wouldn't give up like Gafford. The only players I'll rather like trade is either Maxi Kleber,
Okay.
or just depends on the contract. Dante Exum, which, hey, but hey, I know Exum's hurt right now, but he's a good player whenever he's
Mm.
healthy.
Yeah.
And here's the key part: whenever he's healthy, because I don't know what kind of Dante Exum we're gonna get whenever he gets back. He's progressing when he's starting to come back, probably like mid-February, whenever Luka gets back, and that's the scary part.
Yeah.
We beat OKC without Luka, and the only time we lost to OKC. PJ wasn't playing. That's what
Yeah.
every OKC fan was going like, oh, like we beat y'all with Luca. Like
Mm.
y'all forgot one key
One
point.
one guy I think y'all should add though that could be pretty good, at least as a bench player that can come off and get minutes. Gabe Vincent.
I wouldn't mind him because he is a good defender,
Yeah.
good facilitator too. Because like I was watching his Miami highlights. He would fit us like how he'll fit our system
Yeah,
really well.
but the question is how much do you have to give up to get him? I would be fine with Maxi getting rid of Maxi for him, but I doubt I doubt they want Maxi. I doubt they want him.
I would, but at the same time, our center depth is kind of like on the thin ice
Yeah,
right
on
now
the fringe.
because
Yeah.
two of our centers are hurt right now. With Lively with his foot fracture was brutal, by the way,
Yeah.
and then Mr. Reliable, Mr. Dwight Powell. I call him Green Shoes because he always loves to wear green shoes nowadays, and he has a hip flexor injury, which
Uh
is
huh.
like him.
Yeah.
He's always healthy. That surprised me whenever he got hurt. But
Yeah.
that's the type of season that we're having. But like, if everyone's healthy, I wouldn't want to play the Mavericks in the 7 game series.
You know who I think would boost your guys' center depth? I'm saying the price could be exorbitant, but I think if you want to make a deep run, it's worth it. You guys can go out and get Nick Claxton.
Nick Claxton,
Yeah.
you know what? I heard some rumbling that like he might be in talks, but at the same time, he might be playing that's the power forward position. We don't know.
One guy that well, yeah, him, but I think his price to get him would be way up higher than it would be if you were to go get someone like AD. Like if you got AD, maybe you don't have to give up as much because, again, you can trade one of your injured centers to them for AD. I know AD is usually hurt come playoff time, but still, you're not giving up too much. You're probably giving up a backup center and a
Oh
second
no,
round pick for him.
oh no. If I'm not saying I'm not saying I will like want him to be a Maverick, but like, he'll fit us perfectly because he can play that power forward position. Which,
And the offensive burden on him is kind of off of him at that
oh
point.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Here's my thing with AD and the Lakers. Remember back in the day in 2019, 2020, what position was AD playing?
Wasn't he? What is it? God, I
He
can't
was
think.
no center.
No, he was a. Wasn't he a power forward? No, no. What
Yep,
am I saying?
he
Yeah, power
was.
forward. Yeah, he was.
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
and guess what? Guess what record the Lakers had?
I forgot. Wasn't it like a barely 500 or something?
Oh no, they were like number one seed.
Oh yeah, because it was 20. Because that was the year they won the Mickey Mouse championship.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah. Anyways, besides the point. But yeah, they won it whenever AD was the power forward. And then they went
Mm,
away from it with
yeah.
for some weird reason because they had the perfect lineup out there. They had LeBron playing the point,
Mm-hmm.
then they had KCP
Mm-hmm.
at the two, Danny Green at the three, AD at the four, and then it was either McGee or Howard at the five, which is
Yeah.
perfect. You
Yeah.
know, that's perfect lineup for like the Lakers because it helps like AD. He doesn't have to rely on being like the head center
Mm-hmm.
because that's why like he was always hurt because he always had to like rely being like the big center out there. Even though he has the capability to, we've seen it.
Yeah. I think you know what I think you guys could get. You guys could get. And I'm not saying this is gonna ever happen because I doubt the Kings would want part with him. But you can get Sabonis, and he would be a great playmaking center. His defensive
The
metrics aren't
Mavericks
on. Yeah, and Sabonis's defensive metrics aren't on the greatest side, but his contract, he's about to make 40 million, his projected salary. So if you retain, I think if the Mavs could eat most of that contract, you could easily get you could easily give up less than what you would if you made the Kings retain salary.
because here's my thing with that. I like Sabonis's game. Really love it because I loved it whenever he was a rookie in OKC and then his years in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did, it was just unfortunate they had to play Cleveland in the first round and then Boston in the
Yeah,
next season in the first round. Is it's just one of those things where it's like Sabonis will be a good power forward,
but you'd probably have to give up like 2 firsts for him, and that's not something you want to do.
which we don't want because
No.
depending on how like because that's why we're not touching our 2025 first round pick because we don't know
Yeah,
what's gonna happen. We don't
and
know what to expect,
and
and
do we have? Do you don't have a pick swap? No. Okay, so you don't have a pick swap with them. So, ooh, I just thought of a name. Name just came to my head. Since they're technically having a fire sale, technically, if they get rid of Jimmy Butler, Chet Holmgren could be really good as a center for you guys.
OKC ain't that dumb. They ain't gonna. I mean, I respect it, but OKC will not do that. They
Yeah,
won't.
because again, the fire sale that Miami's having, Miami could get rid of. You could see Butler go to OKC for Chet Holmgren, which I think would be a good trade for in terms of for OKC. Because you get Jimmy Butler.
Um. Okay.
Now the question
Because
is, does Jimmy want to play in OKC? That's the question.
because Jimmy don't. I don't know what Jimmy gonna do. Jimmy at this
He
point in his
beefs with
career, he's
everybody.
pretty much like self-destructing. He's pretty much like destroying his legacy.
Yeah, he ran himself out of the town with the Bulls. Then he ran himself out of town with the Timberwolves. ran himself out of town with the Sixers. Then he wants out of Miami. That's four teams he's like beefed with because of little tiny reasons as to why he's upset.
Man, I gotta tell you, Harden and Butler, they will show you that they do not want to be there, like at all. They'll throw a temper tantrum after
Hmm.
temper tantrum after temper tantrum, telling you like I do not want to be here. James Harden will put on a fat suit and put on himself, saying like I'm overweight, get me off the team. Then he'll
Hmm.
take it off like so, like back in whenever he wanted to leave Houston.
Yeah.
He pretend he had a fat suit on, and then he left in the end. Then the next day, he got traded to Brooklyn.
Yep.
But hey, we'll see what the NBA and the NFL has in store for us. We'll see. I I don't know
Yeah.
what to expect.
It's definitely gonna be an interesting I guess fallout from these next weekend. So that is will do it for us here on the Sports Ramble Podcast. It's Trey Williams. My name is Matthew Wagner. We will see you next time for some more sports, and we'll get you back with a recap of the NFC and AFC Championship game. Get ready for a preview of the Super Bowl, and we'll also be talking about future of the NBA with the trade deadline. I believe is coming up in about
2 weeks.
how many more? 3 weeks, right?
Two,
Yeah,
3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks. So then we'll kind of preview who's going to be traded. We kind of talked about a little bit today about who was going to be traded, but I'm sure by the time we get around to more names being called up and trades being floated, nor names being floated around there. But with that, Trey, as always, thank you for joining us on this one. And I'm from Matthew Wenner. We'll see you next time.
All
See you
right.
guys.
See you.